Hopefully the whatever happens in the future, who knows which administration it will be. I guess time will tell.
Our next guest explains the outgoing president's refusal to concede this way, quote, "What Donald Trump is attempting to do has a name, coup d'etat. Poorly organized though it is not bound to fail. It must be made to fail." With us to talk about it, Professor Timothy Snyder of Yale University. Professor Snyder was a Marshall Scholar, educated in the Ivy League and over at Oxford, specializing in Europe and the Holocaust. He's the author of 2 books of note to our discussion: On Tyranny, 20 Lessons from the 20th Century, and The Road to Unfreedom, Russia, Europe, America. Professor, thank you very much for coming on. You're in Vienna, Austria, where it's unbelievably early. We appreciate that. So a dual question: how do we look over there right about now? And to all those people who think the danger to democracy has passed with the election of Biden, are they right or wrong?
Well, as to the first question, how do we look? In general, the leaders of European democracies are quite relieved. The 4 years of President Trump have been a test for Europeans and their institutions. Europeans have become more independent and in some ways more powerful. I think they in general greet a Biden administration not as a chance to go back to the past, but as a chance to try to now address the real challenges of the future. As to Mr. Trump, we have to remember that this is an authoritarian-minded leader who's in a typical authoritarian situation. In other words, if he leaves office, he faces $1 billion in debt, which there's no sign he can repay. He also faces criminal investigations at the level of the city and the state of New York. So like authoritarians around the world, he fears leaving office. He has very strong reasons not to leave office. So we should take the threat of his lie about the election outcomes, but also future possible threats between now and January very seriously. Democracy doesn't win. It's the people who win when they support democracy.
As you look at home from there, and when you come home on your next visit, do you view it as a changed country because millions of people decided maybe over time, like the frog boiling experiment, to become at least tyranny curious?
It is a process. I mean, you're kind enough to mention my book on tyranny, which I wrote about 4 years ago. And I've noticed over time that the correspondence of people who support Trump, to me, has changed. At the beginning, it was about 50-50, civil and angry. And now after 4 years, it's all angry. Something has changed in the country, and things continue to change. So when we think about Mr. Trump's threat to democracy, it's not just that he's trying to stay in power, although that of course is horrible enough. It's also that he's injecting a big lie into the system. The idea that he won this election is a big lie. And insofar as he gets people to believe this lie, he's transforming democratic politics, which is about facts and interests and values, into authoritarian politics, which is about faith in a leader, believing what the leader says despite everything. And it's dangerous that the particular form the big lie takes is the idea of a stab in the back, that somehow we didn't win when we should have won. And whose fault is this? Well, it's the fault of the other side. It's the fault of the left. The problem with the stab in the back myth is that it says the other side doesn't really belong to the nation. And the other problem is that if you believe that you were stabbed in the back, if you believe that there was cheating and you really won, that means that you're justified in cheating. It means that you're justified in using authoritarian means next time. So what we have to deal with is not just the next few weeks, it's the next few years. And the sooner this nonsense can be cleared up by responsible people who stand up to Mr. Trump, the better the next few years are going to be, not just for the country as a whole, but I think also for both of the political parties.
Please accept our thanks for being so coherent and cogent on television at 5:46 a.m. local time. And here's hoping the Austrians are better at virus mitigation than the Americans. Please stay safe. Professor Timothy Snyder, it's always a pleasure to have you on. Thank you so very much.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.